That worked out pretty well. All right. Let's make sure we're good. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take a top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets and break them down to bite-sized pieces. Before we start, let's make sure the audio is good and the video is good. Looks like they're both pretty great, and we'll go from there. Let me make sure. Yep, we were good. So, what a day in the crypto market. RR, Son of Lori, Soul, hello. Thanks for stopping by. What a day in crypto. And not really in crypto, but what a day in the traditional markets as it bleeds over into the crypto market. And it's pretty awful, but it is not surprising. And just like the name suggests of today's video, which we're doing live, which is pretty fun. I do like these things, these little chats that we have, just me and you. It goes into why I went all in on Bitcoin, crypto, and stablecoins. And it's not that I'm really ecstatic about doing this. I thought I could, kind of play both sides, especially, just having like my bank account, which is pretty nice to have, especially when you're trying to get approved for different things as far as like properties and business loans and things like that. It makes things a lot easier. And that's just the God's honest truth. However, with what's been happening lately, I just can't keep doing it. I just can't keep doing all these things that we're talking about as far as like, leaving money in the bank, and especially what's going on with inflation. And there's a reason, there's a method to all the madness, and we'll get to that today. And again, we're going to talk about why I am moving everything into stablecoins, crypto, Bitcoin, all that great stuff. So let's just get into it, shall we? Everybody, first of all, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And this should be an eye-opening experience for everybody involved. All right. So first topic. Move this over. Perfect. Before we get started, yesterday we had a little trade the chain, or Trinity trading. And we took a look at, and we always take a look at, on this channel, Digital Asset News, we try to keep it as simple as possible, just the news and a little bit of trading. And then over at Dan Clips, which is my second channel, you can find the more advanced stuff. And we go over new projects like Ask, like Zero Exchange, like World Mobile Token, which is working in conjunction with Cardano to bring cellular service to Africa. I love that project. And I need to get into that. And full disclosure, I will get into it. Second disclosure, they haven't paid me a dime. But what are you gonna do? But look, on this last one yesterday, we took a look at Loop Ring. And that was one of the picks just on the sentiment side and also on the technicals, and it held up pretty well. In the last less than 24 hours, we've seen a 50% increase. So if you're looking for, the next thing, maybe take a look at that. This is, of course, this channel is not financial advice. It is financial opinion. It's for entertainment purposes only. And I should just be your starting point to learning all these different things. You should really be doing a lot of research because, if you just listen to one person out there, that's not the way to go. You have to do your own research, and you have to make the decision that's best for you and your family. Anyhow, so that's what's going on there. And you can see all our trades on the spreadsheet, which you can find in the description below also. So, first of all, just as a recap, these are, let me blow this up so you can see what I'm talking about. Here's the prices right now, and we've seen quite a bit of a dip, okay? So Bitcoin's down 1.7, 24 hours, 4%, Ethereum's down, but still over 4 grand. And it's amazing to me how high Ethereum is right now, especially with those god-awful fees, but I think it's because people have to pay, they have to pay in Ethereum to do all those swaps. So they're stuck. It's like the only game in town. It's not the only game in town, but it's the only game that a lot of people know. People don't know about secondary solutions and Zero Exchange and Orion and Loop Ring and all those different things that they can actually use to exchange. They still need Ethereum. They're stuck. And maybe they'll figure that out in that EIP 1559. I'm not too confident, but I've been wrong before. like Dogecoin. Seriously wrong on Dogecoin. Look at that one. But everything's down today. For the most part. Kind of a red day. And What happened? Well, it all starts off with this story. Ugh, it's a little crazy. And before I get into the story, this article we're going to talk about, this was a while ago. This was a piece that came out on 8th of October 2020. So you're looking at, what, 6, 7 months ago, 8 months ago or so. And it was very prophetic about, what is happening, or what was happening, and what was about to happen. And I found it, I'm like, wow, these guys were, it's amazing what they talked about here. So we're going to get into this. We're going to get into what's going on right now, and then we're going to talk about why I'm taking all my cash out of the banks, sorry banks, and putting it all into crypto, Bitcoin, and stablecoin. So here's what we got. So this was from City AM. If you don't follow these guys, they're pretty good. They've also got a crypto AM, and very informative. And it talks about almost a fifth of all US dollars were created this year. A fifth. 1 out of $5 were created 2020. And of course, 2021, we're going to see some massive quantitative easing. And it states here about 20% of all US dollars created this year. Data from the Fed shows that a broad measure of the stock of dollars known as M2 rose from 15 trillion at the start of the year to 18 trillion in September. And that equates to about 3 trillion or 1 in $5. So great. So we had a lot of different dollars being printed, and a lot of people said, who cares? Not a big deal. We're America. We'll just keep doing that. We've done it since the very beginning of when we became the world reserve currency. So who cares? We've always gotten away with it, and we're going to get away with it again, and nothing you can do about it. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. And that's what the article really talks about. And then it kind of goes into some more details, which was really juicy, where it says, will the dollar supply surge make prices jump? And it states the Fed's unprecedented actions have sparked debate about whether the surge in dollars will lead to inflation. Many economists are skeptical. Andrew Hunter, senior U.S. economist at Capital Echo, said the relationship between the money supply and inflation has, in reality, been pretty weak or arguably non-existent for a few decades now. He pointed to booming prices in stocks, bonds, and commodities such as gold and silver. U.S. S&P 500 stock index, for example, hit a record high in August before falling back slightly. And again, not a big deal, because why was it a big deal? It wasn't a big deal. Everything's cool until it isn't. That's really what it comes down to. So not a big thing, right? So why am I bringing this up? And I think you know why. You probably heard this going on a little bit here and there. But inflation, as per the reports that came out today, have leapt up 4.2%. Usual average inflation is around 2%, right? And that's why it never made sense to me to put money into a bank, but I still did it because I had to have money there so the banks could say, you're doing it, you're a good boy, you did what we wanted to, and then we can approve you for these loans for all these different properties that you want to buy. So thanks a lot, buddy. And then we can fractional reserve lending, and you're doing great. So this is what's happening. Inflation speeds up 4.2%, fastest since 2008. That's never good, right? So the article we just talked about, well, maybe we answered that question. So inflation in April accelerated at its fastest pace in more than 12 years as the U.S. economic recovery kicked into gear and energy prices jumped higher. Labor Department reported Wednesday the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, which measures the basket of goods as well as energy and housing, rose 4.2% from a year earlier. Okay, so you've probably seen this right now. And there is a debate between, is this a supply shortage, a chain shortage, or the distribution shortage, or distribution inequality, or the inability to get a goods and or service to a specific location, or is it because of inflation? Well, we see right here that energy prices jumped 25% from a year, including a 50% increase for gas and 37% for the fuel oil. If you don't know right now, I'm thinking in the, I want to say in the Northeast or the Southeast. I was getting it wrong. I was getting confused, but in certain parts of America, they're having a huge gas shortage. That's not because it's a gas shortage and not because of inflation. It's because of the inability for distribution to actually get it there because there's a pipeline shut down. But then you also see, the most insidious tax that you could ever see, which is just inflation. And of course, as prices go up, you're still getting paid the same. And of course, the value of your dollar doesn't go as far. So what do you do with these dollars? I mean, really, what do you do? Well, that's up for debate. But I will say this. Once this information became public, then what you saw, and just like we talked about in the article before, in 2020, they're like, don't worry about it. S&P is going to be fine. Gold and silver, fine. Commodities were good. Well, in the last 24 hours, we've seen a little bit of a dump, or a little downward trend, which is 1.69%. I will keep that into perspective. So if you're in the traditional market, this, I don't know, 1% might be huge for you guys. I have no idea. It seems like anything over like 3 is like earth shattering. And then over 5 days, it's a little bit of a drop. And of course, this is where we are here in a month. But if we really take a zoom out, in 6 months, we were, pretty darn low, but we came all the way up, all the way to fall farther. Will we fall farther? Probably. People like to panic. People like to scream the sky is falling all the time and get out. And it's just the worst thing of all time. So we'll see what happens with the market itself. But I was on Paul Barron's show. And if you don't follow Paul Barron Network, it's pretty good. He talks about traditional markets, artificial intelligence, stocks, all those things, and cryptocurrency. He just had Eric Voorhees on today, 3 hours ago, and myself yesterday. And he had a good question. He said, hey, do you think that, well, he didn't say it like that. He said, Rob, Digital Asset News, do you think that in the traditional markets, as that gets affected later on, because he thinks it would, he actually talks specifically about the inflation rate, do you think the crypto market will fall? And I said, yes, absolutely. He said, well, I thought it was untethered. Or some people said it's untethered. I'm like, no, it's not untethered. Because here's the thing. We have so many people coming from the traditional markets into our space because it's volatile. And if you're a trader, I mean, if you're a Wall Street trader, you love volatility. And there's nothing better than crypto and digital assets. The problem is that the only market that is liquid 24/7, 365 is cryptocurrency, our cryptocurrency market. So when you start to see dips in the traditional market, like what you see over here, you're going to see dips like we just saw today. And that's just the long and the short of it. The real question is, how long is it before people just realize that, wait, all these things that are really not serving me a purpose, people say the cash is trash and everything else. Well, guess what? I still need cash to do certain things. That's just the way it is, right? I can't buy everything in crypto yet. I'm waiting for my crypto debit card. But as time goes on, I think people are going to start to realize, like, wow, we've got a lot of inflation going on. I think 4% is, it's not going to stop there. That's just my personal opinion. I'm going to show you why. So in that certain instance, why would people leave things into cash all the way just to see it be inflated away? It doesn't make much sense to me. And I think that as time goes on, especially as these bull and bear market cycles come to pass, and then people are going to realize that, hey, you know what? Maybe instead of covering our losses in the traditional market, maybe we should just pull here, hedge our bet, go into Bitcoin, crypto, digital assets, and just leave our money there. Because it seems like over the last 10 years, Bitcoin's the best performing asset class of all time, or cryptocurrency. So maybe we should just do that. Or maybe we can put it into some crazy ass stock because, who knows? That's what we know. But I just don't think it is. And it really comes down to this. If you're talking about inflation and you're talking about money printing, people are like, it's not a big deal. Let me put everything in perspective, real perspective for you. The article we just talked about, $1 out of $5 is printed in 2020. Let's put that in scale so we can actually see it. This is a $100 bill. I think we all know what that is, right? Let's take a look at this economic stimulus package, which is trillions of dollars. This is $10 trillion right here. This is $2 trillion. This is the 2020 quarantine stimulus package. That's $2 trillion. Let me blow this up so you can see it. And keep going, another 500 billion, another 349 billion, 303 billion, 250 billion. And mind you, this is 2020. Oh, no, it keeps going. And then that's more money, 257 billion, 400 billion, bank bailouts. And here we are at scale. These are $100 bills. These aren't dollar bills, $100 bills. This is all the money that's been printed since 2020. And actually, it doesn't take into account the new money that's being printed. So when you take a look at that, they're just like, no big deal. That shouldn't be a problem. I sure will be okay. I mean, maybe we will. I'm not an economist. I mean, the other guy that was an economist, he said it wouldn't affect us at all. And here we are. I tend to think that there's darker days ahead. And not to say the sky is falling, but the difference between you and probably some other people is that you probably like to plan ahead. And you probably like to look at the future as far as what is going on and take your next step accordingly, because people don't control you, right? You probably want to do a lot of research. Maybe you watch my channel, a lot of other channels. Maybe take a look at this and go, you know what? I should probably take a little bit deeper dive and see what's going on, especially about this quantitative easing and all the different increases in prices. So here's a little snippet of information I like to share. If you invested $1,000 10 years ago, and this is why personally I like assets. I like assets. I like land, I like houses, I like apartment complexes. I even like gold and silver. Definitely like crypto. I have a channel about crypto. So if you put $1,000 into Google 10 years ago, you would have had a whopping $6,000. Congratulations, you're up 6x in a decade. Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Tesla. Tesla's probably your biggest winner, 159,000. Of course, Bitcoin is 237 million. So again, when everybody's spouting off about how awful Bitcoin is and the volatility, yes, it's volatile. But as far as like the returns, well, it is what it is. And that kind of just speaks for itself. And then again, I think what we have to take a look at is the purchasing power of what fiat really does for us. It's not just about like how many dollars that you have. Really, it's what can you do with those dollars? Well, these days you can do less and less with $1. So remember like your grandparents or great-grandparents, they probably tell you like, milk cost a nickel. And it probably did, and they could probably afford a lot of milk, but that was a long time ago. And this is just the purchasing power of the US dollar since 2013. This is just 2013, I might add. So 1930, you got the Federal Reserve was created and everything was great. And this is where everything just took a big poo. And it just dropped off the cliff, right? The FDR's executive order makes it illegal to hold gold coins, bullion, or certificates. Moet always talks about this, about how people stole the gold. Sure. Bretton Woods established the dollar as the world reserve currency. Great, fantastic. We can manipulate everything to infinity. 1971, Nixon closes the gold window, and that's when everything just kind of dropped off. And in 2013, what you could buy for $1 in 1913, it has been diminished all the way to a nickel. So here we are. And then, before I get onto this, let me pull up the chat. I haven't. Ooh, not the right one. Let me pull up the actual chat real quick, and then we'll go from there. Here we are. There we are. Sorry about that. A little bit off. All right. Where are we? Takes over 60,000 years to count at 2 trillion. I can see that. Scott Hawkins, thanks. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. You know what I think the big difference is about from 2008 to now is that you have to understand that Bitcoin was created because of the 2008 economic housing bubble crisis, everything that really went down. There was no other options. It was the only game in town. And when people heard Federal Reserve, they thought federal government. And like I've always talked about, the Federal Reserve is about as Federal Express. It's a separate entity. It works hand in hand with the actual Treasury to print, but it sets economic policy. So there was, again, there was no game. It's the only game in town, and you really didn't have people who really gave a care about that. They're just like, you know what, give me money, that's fine. Well, now with crypto and digital assets, it's a whole new game. And then there's people that are just kind of exiting. And it all started really with a bunch of libertarians who said, you know what, Bitcoin's the answer. And then off they went. And then you had, just a bunch of investors said, you know what, we can do this. And now all of a sudden we see a bunch of institutions come into play. And I think it's going to change a lot of things. Especially, I think this, like I've always said, 2021 is the biggest year we're going to have in crypto. And it's going to be massive. But what can you do? Joe Rogan's dead. Don't say that. All right. And then I answer some questions. Vitalik sold Shiba, I heard. Rothschild Reserve. Are you going all in because you believe that one day, quite soon, one Satoshi will be worth $1 and you can spend the Bitcoin freely on property expenses? This is just it. I don't know. I'm not that smart. I think everybody knows that. But I do see which way the wind is a-blowing. And it just seems like the purchasing power that I have with $1 is just being eroded quickly. I don't see too much of an end in sight anytime soon. So the question is, why would I leave my money into the banks? I'm already here. There's a point in my life right now where I'm like, I think I'm good with all the properties I want to buy. I'm set. Okay. So I don't have to like deal with the banks and like getting all the different financial statements and things like that for them right now to get a loan for a property. And really, I think as time moves on, I'm just going to start to take loans out on a Celsius or a Nexo or Voyager when they get their act together, and just borrow against my crypto to buy other assets such as land and property. I just don't see the rates are awesome, right? I just did a loan for that property in Puerto Rico and through Celsius, and guess what? Interest rate was 1%. Took 24 hours. Why wouldn't you do that? All right. So I just want to share this last couple of things and then talk to you about why specifically stablecoins I'm going to go into. So let me get rid of this for a second. First of all, you're in the right place at the right time. I think personally, I could be wrong, I could be wrong. But just remember that this was a newspaper clipping from December 5th, 2000. There's these things called newspapers. People used to read them. Wasn't many blog posts up at that point. I mean, there was some, but this is what was put out. Internet may be just a passing fad as millions give up on it. And actually, there's another great article that, let me see if I can pull it up real quick, which has to do with our guy over there, Jeff Bezos, and what some of the smartest people in the room said. Here, let me show you this one. In early '97, Jeff Bezos flew to Boston to give a presentation at the Harvard Business School. These are all the smartest people as far as business and what's going to happen in the next, inclination or the next decades to come, and the masters of the business world. And he spoke to a class taking a course called Managing the Market Space. And afterward, the graduate student pretended he wasn't there while they dissected the online retailer's prospects. At the end of the hour, they reached a consensus. Amazon will unlikely survive the wave of established retailers moving online. They said, hey, you seem like a really nice guy, so don't take this the wrong way, but you need to sell to Barnes & Noble and get out. And Jeff Bezos was like, all right, kid, sounds like a plan. And he was out of there. So when we started to talk about the next evolution of what's really coming, I don't think people really realize what's coming. I think people, they kind of understand a little bit of cryptocurrency. Unfortunately, what they know right now is Dogecoin, because everybody's on TikTok. But beyond that, when they start to realize the ways in which you can be your own bank, to have decentralized finance, to really not to have to worry about this quantitative easing and printing because there are hard caps on these digital assets, I think that's when the magic really comes into play. But let's just get them here first, and we'll get them in, we'll suck them into the actual come for the price action, stay for the fundamentals, and hopefully that'll work out. So this is what it comes down to. So over time, over the next weeks or so, I'm going to start to slowly take all my money out of the banks and put them into stable coins, cryptocurrencies, and of course my NANO ledger to put it onto cold storage. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying this is what you should do. This is just what I'm doing. My goals are not your goals, right? So just remember that. And I like to spread things around because you never know. I mean, you never know. I mean, how many people out there ever thought that Mt. Gox would ever get hacked? How many people ever thought that Binance would get hacked? How many people would ever think that they would get mugged on the street, right? You just never know. So you have to diversify a little bit and hedge your bets, right? So for me personally, this is my plan. So just so you know, Voyager, I know some people are ticked off of Voyager. Some people love Voyager. I personally love the team and all those guys that, I like what they're doing. It's just that they're going through a lot of growing pains. I think I've talked about that ad nauseum, and I'm not recommending them right now because they're getting their act together and they don't need me to flood a bunch of people in there. Let them deal with the little people. I'm something great. Let them deal with the people that are coming in. I'm not going to push another group of people into Voyager right now. If you want to sign up, it's up to you. But I'm not saying you should. Just saying that, hey, they're going through growing pains, getting things done. That's all I can say. But while I got them here, they will give me an interest rate of USDC for 9%. So as I put things, because I'm still going to dollar cost average, I still think we're a long way away from the end of this bull run. I think we're between 40 and 60% done. Take it as you will. And in that time frame, what I'd like to do is continue to dollar cost average on things that I believe, and then also some gems out there. And I'll get to that in a second. But if the inflation rate is 4, right, and I can get an interest rate of 9%, I'm just going to do that. And then I can move things around. And then, am I going to keep it all in the stable coins? No. I will buy my Cardanos. I will buy my VeChain and the BTT. Thanks, my friend George, and Mike the investor for telling me about BTT. I will buy the chain links and all that stuff that I like. And then some other ones that I think are going to be great. Whenever I can get into World Mobile Token, I'll definitely be doing that. And StormX and things like that. And Zero Exchange and Orion, all that stuff. I think, why would I leave it in the bank where it does absolutely zippo for me? Then here we are. I can get 9%. On top of that, don't forget about Celsius. I know everybody, like, if you're a Voyager fan, you're like, if you're like a Celsius fan, you're like, here it is. I know it. And these are just 2. And I'll just remind everybody that, there's a lot of other places you can get yield and different formats and whatever else. These are just the ones that I know and I like and I trust. So it's up to you to figure that out. Again, not financial advice, financial opinion. And right now, the rates, if you're international, you can either get paid in Celsius or in-kind rewards, meaning if you put Ethereum, you're going to get 6% for Ethereum or 5% in Ethereum. If you're, what's the stablecoin? So Tether, look at this. Tether, if you put $100 a Tether, you get 10%. Pretty good, right? And then if you want it in Celsius, you get 12%. So good for you if that's what you want to do. And then you got USD coin, 10% and 12%. True, I think it's True AUD gold. Gemini dollar, another one. And then again, if you're just in the United States like myself, you can only do in-kind rewards. So Ethereum for Ethereum, Bitcoin for Bitcoin. But again, it's the same interest rates going that way. Tether and USD coin. And then off you go. And then of course, so me personally, I use a bunch of different exchanges, a bunch of different wallets, because I never know. I just can't put everything into one place. And of course, I also use my Nano Ledger in cold storage. That way, nothing gets touched there. So if you are looking for all my recommendations, I have an exchange and wallet fees. It's a spreadsheet. There's a link in the description, and very simple. It says, and I put it specifically at the very top today, and you can find everything from Voyager, Celsius, Kraken, KuCoin, SwiftX if you're an Australian, Gemini Pro, Gemini, SimpleSwap, Uniswap, Coinbase, Coinbase Pro. Hey, Coinbase Pro, not bad fees, I'm just telling you. Bitcoin.com, Shapeshift, Uphold, all that stuff. eToro, I don't recommend them. What are you going to do? And that's the big deal. That's why I did things. So I know that was a little bit long, but I had to explain exactly why I do the things I do. So you're not just like, oh, he just went and did it willy-nilly because that's Rob. No, I did it because I just like to protect myself, my family, for what is going on out there. And again, I could be wrong, but it's a pretty easy fix. If everything just works out and for some reason something happens, okay, well, let's go back to that. But in all honesty, these crypto banks are coming, and they're coming hard. and they're going to blockbuster all the regular banks. And that's why we just saw an article where it talked about hundreds of banks are going to be allowed to custody, are signing up to custody and trade cryptocurrency digital assets. You've already hit the tipping point. Now here we are. And if you want to go that route, that's fine. Do whatever you want to do, right? But I mean, if you look towards the actual cryptocurrency exchanges that are turning themselves into banks. Look at Wyoming. Look at what's going to happen. Look at the debit cards and the credit cards that are coming for a Voyager, for a Celsius, I think Kraken's also doing it. And I'm guarantee all the rest of them are doing the same thing. So that's what I got. That's what's going on. And then last but not least, I have to ask, well, actually, let me jump into the chat, make sure I didn't miss anything, because I know I did. Let me pull this up. Where are we? What's all this? HK, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And super googly, he says, if I'm thinking about taking profits at a certain price point, should I start putting some of my cold storage coins onto exchanges in advance to avoid congestion when the prices goes crazy? And that's really depends on, that's a great question. And I have price points. I dollar cost average into my crypto, and I'm going to dollar cost average out. So the big thing I can tell you is that don't go for the static numbers of like 3,000 and 4,000. Go a little bit below, or maybe a little bit afterwards. Probably a little bit below. A good example would be, Ethereum at $3,878 instead of going right at $4,000. So do I think you should put it all on exchanges? No, not really. I think you're going to have time. What I will say is make sure that your limits are set. And if you can't pull that money off, or if you want to pull in the cash into your bank account and buy something, put it into stablecoins, and then stick it on your NANO ledger. That's my best advice. All right. And what happened? Where'd the other one go? I'm sure I'm making everybody dizzy. Jay Simmons, newbie using Coinbase. Congratulations, Jay. That's the right place to start. I always talk smack about Coinbase, but in all honesty, super easy to use. So nothing wrong with that. Just that, the fees are crazy. Are you still pro Celsius? Yes, still pretty pro Celsius. I mean, they do have good rates, but you got to be cautious, right? You got to be cautious because you never know. You never know what could happen. But I mean, so far so good. I will say this: in that Black Swan event in March 2020, when everything went down, they only had to liquidate, I think they said 3 people out of the thousands of people for all their loans and everything else, because everybody paid up or they were able to cover things. And that was one of the few ones that actually was able to do that. So just remember, when those huge crises hit, look at the people that respond to those crises and how they actually perform. And for me, that was a pretty good bellwether. Thoughts, fees on Coinbase seem high. Jay, they are high. They're super high. And if you want to look into something else, look at that sheet I just talked about, and then just compare, just do a little comparison shopping, right? Look, every exchange and every wallet and every brokerage, we don't owe them squat. They work for us. Remember that. So if you're not treated well, you go someplace else. That's that. All right. Sorry. Man, I really messed this, didn't answer any questions. Rob, do you think Spark token on XRP will disrupt all crypto? I have no idea. That's a good question for Mullet. Mullet's really big into, he's really big into Spark. I don't know, but I know it was a pretty great play for them to partner up with XRP. And I think once that SEC lawsuit gets rolled over, which I think it's going to happen, and I think it's going to be good for the entire space when the SEC says, you know what, not a security. And then off we go. Or they'll make some provisions and make them pay something, and then they'll be like, okay, we're buddies now, we're friends. And then I think that'll be good for everybody, because Gary Gensler just came out and said, hey, he says Bitcoin's a store of value, but a lot of these cryptos are securities. That's exactly what he said. However, I was talking to my friend Jerry Hall over the Jerry Hall show, and he says, he goes, what a great way to make some money, right? He goes, that's not going to affect me. He goes, so what if it's a security? Guess who has to deal with that? The exchanges. And guess who has to pay the fines? The exchanges. for selling unregistered securities. So if you want to raise a little extra cash, just say they're all securities and then go from there. But I don't know if it's going to work because, you know, you have lawsuits and whatnot. But it will be interesting to see. But he did say, yeah, if they are securities, let it be a dip. I'll buy it all up, just like people who bought up XRP at 22 cents. That's what's it. Dubzilla has a good point. I don't panic until my portfolio is 90% down the tubes. That's just it. There's a couple ways to do it. And this will be my last point. Let me get out of the chat for a second. There's two things. First of all, George, I know you're watching. So I'm going to bring you into a crazy trading strategy soon. And it's called the Pollo Loco method. And this is Gate.io. And George has a good way of looking at things. He's like, you know what? He goes, look, man. He goes, Bitcoin's not, he goes, the best they could do is a 2x. Ethereum, the best they could do is maybe a 3x. He goes, who gives a, he goes, forget that. He goes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just buy these S coins. And just when it goes up 4 or 5x, I'm out. He goes, I don't need 20x, man. He goes, but once it goes up and it'll pump, then I'll get out. And he's using Gate.io, and pretty much everybody can use this one. And he got into Shiba Inu not a long time ago, like 2.5 weeks ago. And he's like, yeah, I made like 3x when I got out. He goes, I don't know why people are staying for like the 10x, 20x, because that's crazy. He goes, I just want to make a little bit like a speedboat, get in, get out. So we're going to talk about this strategy. And let me just preface it with this. It's super risky. And I would only do it for a little bit of money, a little bit, just because, you know, if you want to just have a fun time. I'm not saying to $100,000. And this goes against all fundamentals and everything else. But there's money to be made, and it is one of those things. And it's, like I said, your goals are not my goals, and everybody's got their goals. Me personally, 95% of what I do, boring, dollar cost average, hit my price points, dollar cost average out. Very boring, right? I think the people who make the most amount of money are the ones who got in like 2011, 12, 10, and just held, didn't do anything. They're like, well, now I need a yacht. So let me sell couple of my Bitcoins that are just, you know, underneath my shoe or whatever else. So yeah, still the same thing. And then there's that. And then also we're going to be doing an update to the price prediction that I came out with on January 7th. And we've already hit some. Like, let's see, Chainlink. What is Chainlink right now? What is the price for Chainlink? Let's see. $45. Yeah, so we're already there. And I just gave you a price range of 35 to 55. Uniswap, I think, is even above that. $40. Yeah, see, I'm already doubled my price prediction. And Voyager, well, I missed that one. But I still think it's going to be $30. But the rest of them are still in play. But what I want to do is do a mid-year update for my price prediction. And I will still be very conservative. I'm not a hype man, just not. And if I shoot low, and I shot low on Chainlink, I shot low on Uniswap, is anybody like beating down my door going, Rob, you're a filthy animal, how dare you? You told us it's gonna be $20 and it went to $40. Nobody cares. So I will still be conservative, but these are the things that I can really say, but I think I'll give you more of a range. But on this video, it's gonna be towards the end of June, I'm gonna be inviting some friends to talk about it. And they're gonna have, what I like about the people that I'm inviting is that they all have different perspectives on cryptocurrency. And these are people that you know as far as different YouTubers and people who are on Twitter. One of those is gonna be Mike the Investor. For sure. If you don't follow Mike the Investor, he's in my, there's a link in the description for him. And a lot of the guys that are in my links will come by. But I want to ask you, is there a specific person you want to see on that live stream? Because we're going to do a live stream, and I'm going to break everybody up into conservative, middle of the road, and crazy price predictors. And I want to just get a big swath and see why they are. And I think it would kind of encompass everything that we need to know. And that'll be mid-June, because that's June, July, August, September. Yeah, that's like the the halfway point. But man, What a great year we've had in so far, right? Not too bad. All right, so let me know what you think about that. Bring up the chat. And go from there. That's what she said. All right, let me back up. Oh. Yeah, George bought Shiba. Shiba Inu. He made good money on that one. I'm holding my ETH for life. Evan, I don't know if that's a good strategy, but no, you know what? Who knows? Who am I to say? I don't know what's going on. I've held ETH for a long time. Seems to work out okay. One mullet says 40. What's up, one mullet? It says 47 bucks. I don't know what that's for. It's probably for Shiba Inu. Mullet buys a bunch of crazy stuff. Lucas Bradley. Trisha Porter. Yeah, David, crazy for cryptos. I got to get him. Pat Ackerman. Who's that? I'm just kidding. I'll ask him. He's got like a real job, though. That's got like a real job and he's like really high up, so I don't know if I can get him. MM Crypto. Look, can't get everybody. I will say this about YouTubers. You know, some people like, I hate this YouTuber, or I love this YouTuber, or this guy and that gal, or whatever else. I will say this about YouTube and Twitter and even TikTok people. I think in this industry, you need all kinds. I think some people need like a hype man, like crazy out there, and just, you know, like really gets people's energy up. I think some people definitely need that. I think some people need like a middle of the road person, kind of entertaining, but a little bit more facts based. And then some people just need like, you know, the boring, like, this is what's going on, this is what's happening. And I think that's how it all works, because different strokes for different folks. And as time goes on, I think people gravitate more towards different people as they come into it. So yeah, we'll go from there. But yeah, Elio Trades, yeah, it's a good one. Did you know Elio Trades has his own cryptocurrency? Smart guy. Shiba to the moon. Got to get the crypto life on there. How long are we holding LRC? So Carson, great question. Carson is in reference to our Trinity trading, which we just did yesterday. We took a look at sentiment analysis, technical analysis, and fundamental analysis. And on that live stream, we picked Loop Ring. And less than 24 hours, it's up 50%. So how long do I want to keep it? I think I already sold it. I got to take a look. But honestly, 50% gains is pretty good. However, it's up to you. And again, not financial advice, just financial opinion. I do not follow what I do. I'm just one person in many that you should be taking a look at. And go from there. How's Bitcoin looking on Trade Chain? Bitcoin, everything's looking, let's find out. Tree Fitty Foe. That's funny. Tree Fitty Foe. That's a good one. JRNY, I watch JRNY. Kid's probably too busy. BitBoy. Sure. I will say one thing about BitBoy. I don't know if you guys noticed. You guys lost a lot of weight. That's not easy to do. That's him doing a lot of stuff. Good for him. It's not easy. It's tough to get in shape. Easy to stay in shape. It's like I tell my friend George. What's your thoughts on Litecoin? I think it's the most boring cryptocurrency asset out there. I don't know why people do it. Let's take a look at Trade the Chain real quick and go from there. Whoops. Chat. Let me pull it up. So again, I'll read through the comment section and I'll invite all these people. We're going to have a wide swath of people. But again, try to think about the people who have different opinions and probably aren't so conservative. Like I got a couple of conservative people coming on already. And because that's, you know, I hang out with. Now, let's see. Trade the Chain. Here we are. Let's do a refresh, shall we? Let's take a look at the sentiment analysis. And also, if you want to check out Trade the Chain, there's a link in the description. 14 days trial. Have at it. Bearish. Not surprising. How much has it gone down? Well, 5% for the 24s, but up a little bit. See, this is what I love about crypto. The 1 hour change, like we talked about in the video today, I mean, we saw how we had the consumer price index said, hey, look, we got a little bit of inflation going on, and that's a bad thing. And then, so people lost their minds in the traditional market, like, got to get out of here. And then, of course, what do? They sell their crypto. Bad move. And then, of course, what do? We're like, thanks for the sale. and then we buy more crypto, and then all of a sudden the 1 hour changes up. So sure, have fun. Bitcoin Cash up 2%. You know, that's who I'm going to try to get on the show. I've talked to Roger one time on the show. I'm going to try to get him on for this price prediction, so he can give us a price prediction of Bitcoin Cash. And we'll go from there. Hey, while we're here, let's just take a look at the projected range and see what's going to go up. This will be a weird time, so I don't know what's going to give us anything. If you are a trader, look at, I don't know what the heck this is. Linear, Helium, Balancer Coin, Curve, AirSwap, Revain. And with 90% assurance, this is where we could see an increase in 1 hour. I don't know if I trust this one. The tweet volume is down. I wouldn't do these two. But this one here, what's number 3? Balancer. Sentiment is neutral. Daily is bullish. The tweet volume is up almost 100%. Trading volume is up 35. Yeah, I would take a look at that. That's what I would see. Back to the chat. And then we'll finish up and we'll get out of here. I don't want to take everybody's time. I know everybody's got like a job to do. Some of you do. Some of you don't. Like my friend George, he's probably watching right now. He doesn't do squat. Oh, here we go. What'd I miss? Roger Beard. Get Janet Yellen. Why? She can sell us, so she can tell us how cryptocurrency is used on the drug rings and for nefarious purposes. Yeah, right. Michael Saylor. That'd be good. Get Michael in here. But he's a one-trick pony. He's like Bitcoin. So we know where that's going to go. Max Kaiser. God dang. I don't know if I could handle Max. He is lots of energy. I wish I had that. I hope I have that much energy as time goes on. Yeah, George from Cryptos R Us. I will reach out to George. He's a busy guy. How much is enough? 12x. Diego, it really comes down to what you want to do. I look like Kevin Spacey. Jesus, that sucks. Oh well, it could be worse. Benjamin Cohen is awesome. Yeah, he is. Spark token will make Litecoin programmable using ETH. That's true. Smart contracts. Jim Cramer. Jesus, I don't want to have Jim Cramer on here yelling. You know what would really be good to have is Mr. Wonderful. I think he'd be good. I've heard a story about Mr. Wonderful from the guys over at Market Rebellion. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. They said that he did a speaking engagement for them last year in Las Vegas. And they said, the guy that you see on the channel, they go, he is nothing like that. He's like super nice guy, really down to earth, really humble. And he showed up like 3 hours early for his speaking engagement. Like, sorry, Mr. O'Leary, you don't go on. He's like, well, that's okay. I'll just hang around. I got nothing else to do. It's like, this is what a billionaire does? Amazing. Let's see. Kite Crypto. I don't know what that is. I probably should. Sheldon Evans. Yeah, that guy's good. Sheldon, just between me and you, is where I stole this little design. Yeah. So like, you know how he's like got this here and then this thing over here, over this way? I totally stole that from him. Let's see. KuCoin Exchange. Litecoin. I am George. And that's it. Data Dash is too busy. Altcoin Daily, those two guys are trying to launch their acting careers, I think. All right, so that's the big stuff. So guys, just as a recap, we took a look at why. Let me come back here. Let me stop the chat. As a recap, we took a look at an article which talked about inflation, why we had every 1 out of $5 was printed in 2020. Took a look at some economists and how they said that inflation wouldn't really happen and it's just ho-hum. Then we take a look at the Consumer Price Index, which said that, hey, it is actually raising 4.2% from a year earlier, and different products and services are actually going up precipitously. Well, maybe not that much. And we just took a look about how the market reacted. Not so great. How the crypto market reacted. Talked about Paul Barron, his network. And just for giggles, let me show this to you again if you just came in. This is what a 10 trillion economic stimulus looks like in cash. That's a $100 bill. Here's a stack of that. Here it is, bigger stack. Here's a pallet. This is what 10 trillion looks like. That's a jumbo jet. This is just 2 trillion, mind you, when we first go over this. So this is the first 340 billion. This is 221 billion. 150 billion, that's just 80 for the States. Another 500 billion. 349, 301, 250, unemployments. And then we keep going, 700 billion. Jesus, 600 billion for economic, 1.6 trillion, and 400 billion. And this is what they say won't affect inflation. Yeah, maybe. And then I just talked about why I'm taking money out of my bank accounts, and I have limits. So every day I'm just putting it into stable coins, cryptos, and other digital assets. And I'll have very little money into my bank accounts from now on because they do absolutely nothing for me. They don't give me any type of interest. And of course, it is really, if you think about money, it's a depreciating, I wouldn't even call it an asset, but it just depreciates because of inflation. So why would I hold it? And I'm using two exchanges. Well, one's a brokerage and one's really not. But for stable coins, you can get 9% on Voyager, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polkadot, and just hold it right there on top of Celsius, which also has some really great rates. And until, the banks come out and said, hey, we're going to be FDICing crypto. This is the option. And I want to make something very clear. Again, do not follow me. This is not financial advice, financial opinion. Make sure that you do your own research. And just remember that I would not put all my crypto and dollars into one specific place because that is a recipe for disaster. So it's going to be Celsius, Voyager, Nano Ledger. I'm also going to keep some on the exchanges. The Krakens, the Coinbase Pros, the Gemini Pros, those type of places, and just kind of spread it all out because you never know. You just never know. So just be careful out there. And then last but not least, we talked about there's going to be a new price prediction video coming up end of June. I've already got Mike the Investor. Alex Mascioli will be there, of course, my guy Al. And who do you want to see as far as YouTubers? I've already reached out to plenty of them. And I'm going to break it up into conservative, middle of the road, and crazy people. And that's it. And then lastly, we'll talk about this new Pollo Loco strategy, which I'll do over at Dan Clips because digital asset news is just for news. And that's it. So thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. If you found value or at least a little entertainment or got you out of the way of whatever you're doing today, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. And that is it. So again,